Hello, everybody. Welcome to our 8 p.m. recording, where today we are looking at communism versus capitalism, and we're also going to touch on socialism a little bit. Personally, I believe in democratic socialism, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. But first, let's look at the definitions and the definitions of capitalism, socialism, and communism. And I will tell you why each one doesn't work, or at least on their own, except communism, because communism just flat out doesn't work. And I want to tell you why by one of the definitions by Merriam-Webster in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Now, I look at Merriam-Webster as the dictionary, but then again, there's many other dictionaries that do stuff. I like Merriam-Webster, personally. If you have a different definition or something else, yeah, go ahead, but let's first take a look at communism. And actually, I'm going to real quickly switch to my camera 2 here. And, okay, we already see a few problems. So, definition of communism: a system in which goods are owned by the common and are available to all as needed. You can kind of see where that goes wrong. That's where it goes into taking away your economic freedom. Where it's not owned by your corporation, it's owned by the common, and, you do not have the right to it. A theory advocating the elimination of private property. Again, doesn't exactly work. And why that doesn't exactly work is you're taking away a person's right, the right to private property, not the, you're taking away a right. And that's a huge problem, because when you start taking away rights, people are going to get angry. When people get angry, the government's going to have to either go back off or get more strict. That's what happens. So real quickly, let's take a look at the number 2, where it has one of my favorite definitions of communism, which actually pretty much works as a USSR and how American communism would work. But first, let's look at a doctrine based on the revolutionary Marxian socialism, and Marxism-Leninism, which was the official ideology of the USSR. Of course, we all know that didn't work out too well for the USSR. Of course it didn't work well, because it was taking away their freedoms, their economic freedom to be exact. And that's where I don't side with the left or right. Because if you side with the left or right, you're giving away one or more of your freedoms. One of the other freedoms. Either your personal freedom, or some of your personal freedoms, or some of your economic freedoms. If you're libertarian, like I'm closer to, at least now I'm closer to libertarian, and here is why. Libertarian basically says you can have both your economic and personal freedoms, and that's where I agree with a lot with libertarianism. I just don't believe in every single aspect. We'll get into that another time, but yeah. Now here's my favorite one: a totalitarian system in which a single authoritarian party controls state-owned means of production. Let's real quickly open this in a new tab to look at the definition of authoritarian. Adjective: of relating to or favoring blind submission to authority. Blind submission. Of relating to or favoring concentration of power in a leader or an elite not constitutionally responsible to the people. That's authoritarianism. That is, now how I believed it was favoring concentration of power to a leader or an elite not constitutionally responsible to people. That's what I sided with for the longest time. But that's where communism is. That's what communism is. And this is the definition I go by when talking about communism. I don't just mean this, which doesn't work. None of these work, per se, in the government. But you know what? That's fine. C. A final stage in a society in Marxist theory, which the state has withered away from economic goods or distributed equally. I cannot read. I am illiterate, apparently. Now, what does that mean? That basically means the government has control of everything. It has control of the businesses, in which withered away and economic goods are distributed equally. Who distributes them? Not companies, but rather, get this, the government. And that's where libertarians really don't side with communism at all. I do agree, communism's a broken system. It can't work. And there's a reason why I'm democratic socialist. And of course, I don't believe in socialism, nor so a lot to deal with socialism. That's why I side more towards the left, not the right, or the libertarian side. That's where I kind of stay away from libertarians in opinion. Green ball's right there. I don't know why. That thing right there. That thing. That's my green ball. Don't worry about that. But now you're entertained and you know what that is. So don't comment it, please. The communist systems collectively. That doesn't help. Merriam-Webster, that doesn't help. So let's real quickly close this. Now, here's socialism. And mind you, I don't believe socialism works almost at all. I just believe hints of socialism. It's like putting in salt. You don't want that itty bitty too much, nor that too little. And if you have to counter it with pepper, or in this case, capitalism, it works. Why I did that was saying pepper equals capitalism. It's a metaphor. Okay, definition 1. Any various of economic and political theories advocating collective or governmental ownership and administration of the means of production and distribution of goods. Basically communism. That's where I get pissed off with socialism. That doesn't work. But hints of it does. Hints. Not like a tablespoon. More like just a pinch of it in a huge bowl of capitalism. That's where I stand. We don't want too much socialism, otherwise it tastes super salty. We do not want too little socialism, otherwise it just, no one likes it. And people are like, we want our rights. Weird, right? How people want rights. I'm joking, by the way. Please know I'm joking. I'm being sarcastic. So, 2A. A system of a society or group living in which there's no private property. Again, taking away a right of private property. Private property basically says you own this property because you had the ability to get it. Taking that away is basically taking away the right to buy hot dogs. Sure, a lot of liberals are going to disagree with me heavily. But that's how I see it. It's also a system that doesn't work. A system of or condition of society in which the means of production are controlled by the state. That is 2B. Excuse me. In which the means, and here's why I want to focus on, means of production are owned and controlled by the state. That there is equal to communism, which again, as we said earlier, the final stage of a Marxist society, or Marxian socialism, see the tints, these two are basically one and the same. They're not far different. They're really not. A stage in which a society in Marxist theory transitional between capitalism and communism are distinguished by unequal distribution of goods Pay according to work done. Now, pay according to work done is the way I like to pay. So if I were to pay my employees, I wouldn't pay them by hours, rather by things they got done. And also how many hours it took. So it's a mix of hours and work. So if you just sit there for half an hour just waiting for work to be done, no pay. If you work really hard for an hour, good pay. If you work really hard for a few hours, even better pay. If you work moderately good for a couple hours, that's about the same as working really hard for an hour. That's how I see it. If you disagree with that, tell me in the comments below what your system of payment should be. Should it just be hours? Should it just be by how much you work? But first, before you do that, let's look at capitalism. And there's only one definition. An economic system characterized by private or corporate ownership of capital goods and investments are determined by the private decision, and by prices. Production and distribution of goods are determined mainly by competition in a free market. That's a good system. But here's where the hints of socialism come in. You tax the rich more. You tax the rich more and you tax the poor less, meaning more goes into the government, yet you still don't tax the shit out of the poor people who have no money. Like, 200,000, I think, is what my aunt says should be the beginning of taxes. If you make less than 200,000 a year, you don't pay taxes. And that's you and your spouse. But in my perfect world, it would be 40,000 in that case, because 2,000 for each of you, 200,000 for each of you, as it just makes things easier to tax the both of you. It basically makes more sense to tax a single person. So, like, let's say one of you makes 200,000 or more, and the other makes like 50,000 or less. The one who pays the other one gets taxed, but the other one doesn't. That's where it ends. That's our hint of socialism. And, well, of course, better pay, because here, let me get GIMP open. Because I'm gonna teach you the absolute basics, at least to my knowledge, of. Hold on, my head's scratchy. I haven't been able to take a shower in a while, so I'm doing this instead of taking a shower. Lol. So other than that, really, that doesn't matter. But we're gonna real quickly open up GIMP. Startup. I'm going to teach you a very simple. Discard that. I don't need it. It was a meme I was making. So let's real quickly take this. Take this into consideration. And let me real quickly get all the right tools in my inventory. So you have the company. C. The company then pays its workers. So let's draw a little person. And the workers go buy products. So let's say a ball. This ball is P. Then the workers go and buy, and then the product gets in demand. That's a D. Then it goes to the company's job to pay the worker to make more of that, so they make it. So basically, it's a cycle of the company pays the worker buys the product that the company made, then there is a demand. The demand incentivizes the company to make more of the product, so therefore it's a double circle. That is the absolute basics and the absolute basis of economics. That's the most absolute basic you can get with economics. And mind you, I haven't taken an economics class. I just know this because this is common fucking sense. So let's real quickly say let's take red for this and say the worker can't buy the product because there's no money. Well, then there's no demand. No demand means no incentivization to make more of it. Meaning no more of this, no more of this means the company can't really make a profit, and then that kills off the work for the worker because they can't pay for it. It basically crosses it all out. One of these systems breaks, let's say here, because they only make $7 an hour. That's not enough to buy a product infinite times and keep buying it because you don't have the money to do so. $7 an hour is not livable wage. That's livable wage is 15. And I know what you're saying, that might not be able to be paid by the company. Well, guess what? There can be loans. And banks can just say, oh, you just have to pay extra stuff. And they just... It's a whole system. We have to figure this out first. And I want you guys to help me figure this out. Because I don't have the answer. I have an answer, but I don't have the answer. My answer is have the government use the taxes from the rich. Like, let's say here. Let's make a new document real quick. And let's take green. So we basically become Robin Hood by getting the rich, R, and the poor, P, to not pay equal taxes, but the rich pay more taxes, the poor pay less to absolutely no taxes. Sure, there's none going from the poor to the government, but that's not a lot. That's not as much as we can pull from the rich going to the government. The government gets more money. The money is given to the poor. That way they can buy stuff, start businesses maybe, become rich, and then it's a whole cycle. So basically tax the rich higher and tax the poor lower and give the poor more money to focus on building the economy. Doesn't that make sense? That does not make sense. Please tell me how it doesn't. Because if we make it endless payments, where the rich, where we have the government paying on 3 things: snow plows, of course, no one likes driving in the snow. Paying the poor and paying for the military. That way, we sell the military. We don't get as easily invaded. We won't get invaded if we don't ban guns. So that kind of stuff basically builds up the economy, and that's where our 2 hints of socialism are. One here, where it says you pay them livable wage in order to restart this entire system that will work, because that's economics right there. Going to demand, going to companies, the companies get the incentive. It basically builds up the system. This basically causes the rich to not be as rich, of course, but they're not losing too much. And the government paying for 3 things is simple, because they pay for military, bam, the poor, like I said, and snow plows, because no one likes snow. So really, if they pay for those 3 things, and even then, I think snow plows can be paid for by the government, but still be companies. They're companies hired by the government to say, hey, go do that. So you're not paying government workers. The government's just paying. See where I'm going here? So it goes to the state, then goes to the snow plow for the state, and it clears off the roads. That's just a part that I don't like, because we just got recently pretty big snowstorm, and I didn't have school on Monday, but I still had shit to do other than record. So sadly, also because it's called research. I know there wasn't much in here. It's only like a 20-minute video after all. But that's the absolute basics of my economic beliefs. And I'll put it in the comment section below. Not the comments, but rather the description And remember, I will link all of these things in the description below too, so please remember that. If you like your new thumbnails, please tell me you like them. I'm not fully sure yet. And thanks to the very few subscribers that we have, I think, let me real quickly check. You're not seeing it, but, you know. 3 subscribers, that's a lot. How many views do we have? And for the 14 views you guys have been giving us, thank you all for watching. I hope you have a fan-flippin-tastic day. And I will see you in the next episode that we make on Thought News and Debate Club. So, yeah. I should have recorded my outro here. I missed out. But again, thanks for watching. And if you have any more that you want to debate or try to challenge my belief, go ahead and do so in the description down below. Also, our Twitter will be in the links. We are also going to soon do an episode on net neutrality. Spoiler alert, I don't like it. So thank you all for watching. This so far, I think the longest video on Thought News and Debate Club. No, the Democrats versus Republican one is still the longest, I think. And not even too, like, I think they're equal in size, I think, but I'm not fully sure. Most of this is just me outroing. But thank you all for watching again. Thanks for sticking in for this extra long outro. I'm sorry. I'm a real big talker. Debate me in the comment section below. And again, Twitter and our sorry, I don't have editing software, so I can't edit that out. The Merriam-Webster dictionary definitions of communism, socialism, and if you have any challenges or any other ideas, please debate them in the comment section below. Thank you very much.